Suddenly, a small beast appeared in front of him out of nowhere. It was obviously very cute and friendly. It was still very small and wanted to play, so it began to lick Xiao Sinyu. Xiao Sinyu was obviously not prepared for this. He couldn't find any explanation as to how he had gotten here. Could it be that he had descended with the demonic god directly from the heavens? But after a moment, he remembered that there was information about a dog-like creature in the textbooks. Its bloodline was quite weak and didn't require spiritual power. This was a plus for Xiao Sinyu because with this, he might be able to take care of it. He was insanely happy about this chance because of this beast, he might be able to become a beast tamer. But the beast tamer exam would start in 3 days, and he probably wouldn't have enough time to prepare for it. But he decided to try anyway, and was very happy that now he had this baby. The events moved to the beast tamer store. In Xiao Sinyu's mind, he still had the thought of giving this puppy to someone who could actually afford to take care of it, because he felt that the puppy would have absolutely no future around him. Suddenly, a salesman came out of the store, and he was very surprised to see Xiao Sinyu outside his store so early. Xiao Sinyu decided to offer the salesman to take the animal away. As soon as he saw the animal, he indignantly asked to take the puppy without pedigree away from his store. Xiao Sinyu thought he was being very rude and informed him that if he didn't want it, he could just politely say so. And now Xiao Sinyu realized that any person would not want to buy him because he had nothing in his status, especially the path of evolution. Just as suddenly, Xiao Sinyu was illuminated by a bright light, and a system window appeared in front of him that had complete information about the puppy. Xiao Sinyu was very surprised when the system panel appeared in front of him. He decided to wipe his eyes and look at everything again because he couldn't believe what he was seeing. As it turned out, it was clearly not an easy puppy, and for some reason, its evolutionary path was hidden. Xiao Sinyu's mind was filled with a lot of questions. While he was busy doing that, someone was peeking at him. And as it turned out, no one could see this panel except him. It was also hidden. Suddenly, the person who was watching approached him. It was the son of the richest man in Qifeng City. He remembered very well that Xiao Sinyu wasn't going to pass the exam just because he didn't have a pet. He decided to bend down and take a look at the beast. He was very surprised to see if Xiao Sinyu was able to get himself a beast. When he realized that it was a hound, he was furious. Xiao Sinyu immediately grabbed the puppy and ran away, asking him to stay away. He realized that Lina was telling the truth and Xiao Sinyu really wasn't going to pass the exam. This situation made him laugh a lot because he was sure that even if Xiao Sinyu tried, he would fail this exam 100%. Hearing Lina's name, Xiao Sinyu was very much alarmed. After all, he had reported that his ex-girlfriend had recently been with him. Suddenly, Lina appeared out of nowhere, and she could not understand where her chosen one had gone. But he said that he saw an old acquaintance and decided to say hello to him. And she noticed Xiao Xinya, and it was obvious from her face that she was very uncomfortable and couldn't understand why this was happening, because she shouldn't care about Xiao Sinyu's opinion. How could he even come here with this low-ranked dog? Xiao Sinyu was very hurt that she had forgotten how he had helped her get up from the bottom. He was very angry and didn't care who he was associating his life with. If she was interested in rich fools, that was clearly her choice. These words really infuriated the rich son, and he was ready to crush Xiao Xinya in the exam. This situation only amused him, and mocking them, Xiao Sinyu walked out of there. Who even dared to say that an assault hound was a useless animal? Xiao Sinyu decided not to give up and prove that they had a future. And so 3 days later, they were in Jilin Square. The hostess announced that the National Beast Tamer exam would soon begin and all those participating should go to their seats. The people who were there were very surprised to see Xiao Xinya there, because they were sure that he was definitely not going to participate because he didn't have a beast. Where would he get the money from? He was also somehow registered at the Qinglong Academy. People thought he was a loser. How could he even be a member of one of the best academies in their nation? Xiao Xinyu was determined to win. He was going to prove to everyone that he was clearly capable of many things. He turned to the teacher to inform him that he had come to take the exam. It was teacher Chen Qianyang, and N was in the admissions office of Qinglong Academy. He required the name of the candidate. He introduced himself and said that he had come to take the Beast Tamer exam. Xiao Xinyu, as it turned out, was the only student from Qifeng County who had applied to their academy. Once again, this guy appeared in Xiao Xinyu's path and reported that he was very brave since he had decided to apply for the exam. He said that in the past 5 years, only 8 students had applied from his neighborhood. And as it turned out, none of them had passed this exam. This guy clearly couldn't believe that Xiao Xinyu would be able to squeeze through this exam. But if he could still pass it, the rich son would be willing to kneel down and call him daddy. Xiao Xinyu ordered him to clear his path and be ready to fulfill his declaration. This infuriated the rich boy very much. But regardless, Xiao Xinyu approached the teacher and informed him that he was ready to start the test. But before he started, the teacher decided to warn him about something. The Qinglong Academy entrance exam would be very difficult, and if he suddenly failed it, he would never have the chance to apply to any of the existing academies again. Xiao Xinyu was well aware of the consequences of losing, and despite that, he was ready to start the exam. The first test was the spiritual power test. And upon touching the magic ball, Xiao Xinyu's spiritual strength amounted to 316. This guy once again made Xiao Xinyu look like a laughing stock. He was certain that he wasn't even worth the minimum of the academy. The teacher seemed to be disappointed, for he had clearly thought that Xiao Xinyu would be an excellent and confident expert. Through this, he invited the next student to take the test. But suddenly, someone noticed that Xiao Xinyu's spiritual power began to change drastically. It was already at the 621st level. And just a second later, his spirituality exceeded the number 711. This was inexplicable, and the people present thought that the spirit power meter was broken. And after a moment, the counting stopped. Xiao Xinyu's spirituality level number had reached 1028. The teacher was completely shocked by what was happening. This really infuriated everyone present, because no one could believe that Xiao Xinyu was actually capable of doing anything. A student's spirit power determined how many beasts a beast tamer could imprison. Every 100 points was equal to 1 beast, and the number 1028 points meant that Xiao Xinyu had great potential, and he could become a 10-star beast taming master. Teacher was completely shocked by what he saw. He knew very well that he was now dealing with a future 10-star beast taming master. It was very rare to actually see him. In the past few decades, there were very few of them in the dragon realm. Therefore, they should definitely cherish such potential. It looked like the Dragon Kingdom had found its next master and genius. Xiao Xinyu's spiritual strength is 1028 points. Last year, there was a girl named Yining Shuang, and her spiritual strength was 1030 points. And what a surprise it was that Xiao Xinyu would be able to reach such a level. His ex-girlfriend and her chosen one were furious, but they knew that this was far from the end. There is another test, and it lies in the student's pet bloodline. In their opinion, he would definitely not be able to pass it. Mr. Chen prepared to announce the start of the second test, but suddenly one of the students stopped him. It seems there was a minor error with the measurement of his spirituality power. This student's real score is 1032 points. Xiao Sinyu's score actually exceeded that of last year's candidate. This became a big problem, and the teacher asked his assistant to keep